News, 1 in 3 young people have been cyberbullied. That's according to the latest cyberbullying report by Unicef. That's the United Nations Agency for Children. And Unicef is calling for the implementation of policies to protect those who are affected. Well, to tell us more about this report, I'm now joined via Skype by James Elder from Unicef. Good morning, James, and thank you very much for your time. I don't think there will be much of a surprise in terms of what you have found in this research, because I mean cyberbullying has been spoken about, well, at least here in our country for quite some time. We've even seen unfortunate incidents where some young people have committed suicide due to cyberbullying.
Yeah, look, I think you're right. I think what's most interesting here is that it's such a broad base. It's 30 countries around the world, from France to Zimbabwe, and such uniformity of what young people are saying, which is unfortunately school bullies or bullies have been given a megaphone by social media. So whilst previously, that odious thing of bullying was at least confined to the playground or to a school, now children don't even have safety in their own home. And we know that cyberbullying can be so harmful, so hurtful, and so quick. Things can go viral in such a very short time. So yes, that unfortunately that age-old saying, very wise saying, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me, is simply not true in an environment where social media can spread like wildfire. And that's what we heard from young people around the world. And we also heard, many good ideas from them about what needs to be done. But also just how harmful it is to be in a situation where you're being bullied potentially 24/7.
Now, Mr. Elder, just in terms of trends that you may have picked up in your report, I'm just fascinated to know, was there an income differentiation? I'm asking this, in terms of class, did you find that there's more cyberbullying among those who obviously who are using social media, who can afford to have smartphones, or that it doesn't really matter which segment of the income levels you belong to?
Yeah, largely, unfortunately, bullying knows no difference there in social class. It tends to be that your bullies that would bully you in the real world are just as likely to be stalking and bullying in an online space, though, as I say, unfortunately, an online space never leaves someone. But of course, yes, it does impact those people much more who have that access, who have the ability to have more data, to be on their screens more frequently. But in this part of the world, in Africa and Southern Africa, that's an increasing number of people. The good news has been that more and more people, young people, have access to the internet and social media, and that can obviously, there's a lot of good in this technology, a lot of opportunity, a lot of ideas, a lot of creativity, a lot of ideas around employment. But social media and social media networks need to do a lot more to look at ethical guidelines, to look at the ethical standards in which they take information from young people, how they store it. And they need to do a lot more around training of teachers and supporting lines, charity lines, helplines. Childline in South Africa is absolutely brilliant, but a lot of other countries don't have that. So economically, bullies don't know bounds, but obviously the more you are online, the more at risk you are. But UNICEF isn't suggesting young people get offline. We're absolutely suggesting young people spend time with each other, with their families, play sport, read books. But we know they'll be online, and that's fine. But the less you're online, potentially the better. But most importantly, there's a lot that young people can do, that parents can do, schools can do, and social network providers need to do.
Just listening to you now, there's a very thin line between cyberbullying when a classroom is connected. Here in Gauteng, the MEC for Education, Panyaza Lisufi, is driving a new type of classroom, getting classrooms modernized. The future world of schooling should be connected. But the line between that connected classroom, cyberbullying, and physical bullying in schools, and therefore violence, is very, very fine nowadays. How does UNICEF propose or recommend that schools and parents should go about it? Because I guess there'll be some form of digital parenting that's required.
Yeah, absolutely. Very, very, very important. I think there's a few things. As I say, social media networks need to, these networks, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, they make sizable profits. They need to invest it back into ensuring young people are safe. And that means invest it back into schools to make sure schools Teachers are trained to how to deal with this. There are real space, child-friendly spaces that are safe. They need to invest it back into educating parents. What do parents do? I'm a parent and I still have to read about this, and I work for Unicef. It's not clear what parents can do. Now, the obvious one to answer your question around parents are the more time you spend with your kids, the more you know their social media habits, the more you're going to have a sense of where they are, what they're doing, and also you'll see if there's a sudden change in their behaviour, which will give you, pause for concern that maybe things aren't right. So the more open relationship you have with your child, the more likely they are to speak to you about this. And that's brave. If a kid's being bullied and they come to a parent, that's brave. And then it's important for the parent to, take it time. Don't rush it. Breathe. The parent's obvious just what they want to do when a child's hurting is to fix it. But often this child, by being bullied, they're being ostracised, they're being left out, they're being marginalised, and responding too quickly, a knee-jerk reaction, might just actually exacerbate that problem. So parents, an open relationship with your kids helps enormously. Talk to them, empower them, about what they can actually do in this situation. And children, young people have a pretty good idea. Young people, don't respond to taunts and bullying online. Don't give them oxygen. If you need to keep evidence of this, young kids know how to take screenshots and so on. Most of these sites, there are ways to block people. They're not perfect, and social media providers need to be better on that. And then young people just need to be there for each other. We all know we've had a tough time, and when a friend is there and a friend is able to support you and a friend maybe is able to stand up and speak out against a bully, online or offline, that makes the world of difference too. And then, unfortunately, no one has the solutions until social media providers do more. There is no one solution. So young people if they're online, they're going to have to be resilient.